Hey everyone, happy Monday. It's me, RentalPenguin, back with some more streaming gameplay. So, for those of you that may have missed it, I put out a video on TikTok and it did amazingly well. I'm a little in shock. I'm not used to seeing that many views on my content yet, as I'm still fairly new. Um, you can check it out on my various platforms. You got me on TikTok, you got me on YouTube. I do YouTube Shorts, which are just the clips that I pull from this here stream. And of course, there's this here stream, which you are welcome to follow and continue to watch as I go through the content with everyone here. Um, so the clip in question was me testing the Airburst launcher, which was a prototype in the game that we were possibly going to get if we liberated a planet, as opposed to the other planet we could have liberated, which would have given us anti-tank mines. Well, people didn't read too well on the mission parameters and just started playing missions wherever they felt like, which is fine. You do what you want. But we didn't get a chance to see the anti-tank mines because people just liberated the first planet they came across. So we got the Airburst launcher. Now, the Airburst launcher had some issues. It was very touchy on what it considered in proximity. Hi, Cone. And it was also very touchy on choosing to also detonate on teammates, stratagems, ammo boxes, literally anything. So the clip is me saying, "Oh, here's the Airburst launcher. I can fire it here safely," and I fire it, and it blows me up and instantly. And everyone basically was saying, "Oh, it was the mines in front of you." Well, possibly. I think it was just everything about that launcher. So they updated that launcher and several other things and put in a patch this morning addressing that. So it looks like they've reduced the area of the proximity that it senses before it detonates, and they fix it so it doesn't detonate when it's near teammates, friendly stratagems, turrets, ammo boxes, those kinds of things. Hey, awesome. Yeah, you can add me on Discord. That's great. Or I'll add you, whatever. Thanks for stopping by. So, let's take a look at the patch notes they put out this morning. I'll check them out with you all here. And then we're going to, of course, go into the game and test things out because that's what I like doing. So, this was this morning. Balance changes to weapons, stratagems, and enemies, and change to the Spread Democracy mission. Cool. Monday, April 29th. That's this morning. Start off here with general. Armors with armor rating above 100 will now also reduce damage on headshots. That's good. That's really good for us because I always suspected that we as Helldivers took extra damage if we got shot in the head by the robots. I could never get confirmation on that. So it's good to see that is being addressed. And then I was correct. Victory poses will now only play for the extracted. No stolen valor on my ship. So if you don't get extracted when the rest of the team gets brought up into the ship and the other people are standing off the side, they're doing their victory poses. It's like, you didn't achieve victory. You shouldn't pose. That's what they're saying, basically. And burning damage reduced by 15%. Okay. That is good because oftentimes if you caught fire, if you didn't dive to the ground immediately and then stim yourself, you were probably going to die. Like, no doubt. So reducing this damage is good. I think this is across the board. I think that's on everything, even the enemies. So I don't think that that's great because I'm a little biased. So, moving on. Let's see. Here we go. I'll move it down here. So back to my head blocks. Exploding crossbow. So, I had some issues with the exploding crossbow. It has a slightly smaller explosion. not great. Maybe it was too big. I'm not sure. I didn't really play with it that much because I didn't like it. Increased stagger. Now we're talking. It didn't have stagger before. You could shoot a devastator, and it would just look at you and then just shoot you back. Now it will stagger them. Decreased number of maximum mags from 12 to 8. Not crazy about less ammo, but you increase the number of magazines received from a resupply from 6 to 8. So you could use all your ammo and then get all of it back with one resupply. That's good. I liked it. They actually made this change to a couple weapons. Slight reduction in ergonomics. I think they're referring to when you aim left and right, how the crosshair kind of drifts behind a bit because it doesn't want to be too, um, I guess, on the point. So reduction in ergonomics means it handles a little worse. That's fine. So that's fine. Muzzle velocity increased. This was one of my major complaints. Was you would shoot the crossbow and it would just kind of like spurt out a little bit and then fall to the ground immediately. Now I play with it a little bit. It looks like it does travel further before it's affected by the drop, which is makes it more accurate and easier to use. So all in all, some good changes, except for the smaller explosion and a little less ammo. But I think the increased velocity and stagger will make up for that. Plus, you get more in the resupply, so that's good. All right, here's one of the downsides. Quasar Cannon increased recharge time by 5 seconds. So it was at about 10 seconds before. So they increased the recharge time by 50%. Um, Now, Quasar Cannon was amazing, right? Just absolutely amazing. So reducing this recharge time, or increasing the recharge time, brings it down from S tier into like the A tier. That's fine. Um, it was a bit too strong to just shoot this thing several times per firefight. It was a bit OP. I don't know if we'll see less of this now. I hope not, but we'll see. But it was basically auto include, and usually game designers don't like items that are auto include. They want people to have a a reason to take something, as opposed to feeling like they have to take something. So, all right, the adjudicator. This was the assault rifle in the democratic demolition pack. I wasn't a big fan of it. I didn't really see an appeal. It was kind of like an in-between gun. Full auto is now default. Cool. Reduced recoil. Good. It had a bit too much recoil for full auto originally. Increase max mags from 6 to 8, and increase magazines resupply from 6 to 8. There you go. So you can use all your ammo and then get a resupply, and then you get your ammo back. And now placed among... So they just reorganized where it is in your menu. Gotta say, I went back and I used this a bit. It still is... It runs out of ammo quite quickly, but it feels better. With the reduced recoil, it feels better. Some people love it. Some people absolutely love it. I'm ambivalent. I could go either way. Moving on to the laser cannon. Slightly increased damage. Cool. But slightly reduced damage versus large volume bodies. Now, this isn't exactly clear what this means. Obviously, it means large enemies. Your Hulks, your Bile Spewers and Nursers, all those, right? Bile Titans, Chargers. I wonder why this was made to be a thing. Um, I think it's still pretty amazing. But like I said, we're going to check it out again. All right. We have the Punisher Plasma. Decrease max mags from 12 to 8, increase mags resupply from 6 to 8. So similar changes, how you get less ammo, but you get all of it back with one resupply. That's fine. Because I guess people were taking two resupplies to get max ammo, and they didn't want that anymore. So increase projectile speed, but will still keep similar range. So you could lob that plasma shot arc, and it would be in the air for quite a bit. So now they're just speeding that up to make it more um, reliable. So you don't have to lead the targets as much. And they decrease the damage fall off on the explosion. So if the person's on the edge of the blast, they will still take a decent amount of damage as opposed to just getting like a little bit of damage and a little bit of stagger. That's good. And it's now placed in the energy weapons category. So they're reorganizing their weapons. That's fine. The Blitzer. The Blitzer. This is the um, arc weapon shotgun variant. Increase shots per minute from 30 to 45. So before, it would be shoot, hold on, let me rack this thing, and then shoot. It was very slow, and my major complaint, I think my only major complaint on that weapon was it was very slow to fire. It is faster now, and it is much, much better. So, and they reorganized it to the energy weapons category. Cool. I think this is going to be a game changer. We're probably going to see a lot more of these. People are a little scared to use arc weapons, but you just have to not shoot your friends. You know, just be aware. Use some trigger discipline. You know what I'm saying? It's fine. All right, Eruptor, my beloved. It decreased number of max mags from 12 to 6. They did not change that you get 6 from a resupply because I think you already do. Explosion damage drops off slightly faster. Okay, so this was a little ridiculous. There's footage of me seeing a group of enemies, and I fire one shot and get like 6 or 8 kills because they happen to be in the blast. And I guess it counts the total damage anywhere in that blast. So, I guess if you're closer to the center, it's more damage and it falls off the further you go. Probably for the best. I shouldn't be able to wipe out entire squads with one shot. It's a little ridiculous. So, this is fine. It's fine. The sickle and the scythe. These are the two energy weapons. Hold on, I want to say, is it the sickle is the continuous beam, and the scythe is the rapid fire? I want to say that's the case. One of them gets a damage increase, and they both get less magazines. That's fine. Um, you really don't need 6 magazines on either of those because that's just there in case you overheat. You shouldn't be overheating those weapons. You fire until it gets hot and you stop and you switch to your secondary or your support or you throw a grenade or you run away. You shouldn't be just holding the trigger on those things. You know? So, those were just a oops button that you could just reload real quick and keep shooting. I mean, there were times when you had to do that in really intense firefights, but you shouldn't need 6 magazines. You do that once, maybe twice. If you do it 3 times, you're in trouble. But I've never used more than probably 2 in a whole mission. I want to say the scythe is the continuous beam, so it does more damage. That's good. I think it could use more damage, and I think the sickle is the rapid fire. So no change on that one except for the less magazines. All right, this one's got people a little excited. The railgun, increased armor pen in both safe mode and unsafe mode, and stagger force increased. A straight buff, a straight up buff. Maybe we'll see more railgun users. I think that could be a thing, but only with only 20 shots. I don't think you're taking it for the stagger. You're taking it for the armor pen and the damage, generally in the unsafe mode. So we'll see if that's a thing. All right. Moving on, the heavy machine gun. One of my major complaints, was that there was no third person crosshair. Now there is. Now, if they could just do something about the limited ammo, we could really be onto something. But third person crosshair enabled? Heck yeah. Heck yeah. And of course, the heavy recoil, it's not an issue. You just have to equip armor that has recoil reduction, and you're fine. And heck, bring a ammo backpack to resupply yourself, I suppose. But I think 75 round magazine is just too little. Give me a 100, you know. The Diligence counter sniper, damage increased 128 to 140, and improved ergonomics, so it handles better. It turns and it acquires targets faster, and it does more damage. Great. That's fantastic. I don't know if I'm still going to be using it. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll try it out. The regular Diligence, damage increased from 112 to 125. Great. So it's doing about as much damage as the counter sniper used to do. That's amazing. It already had great ergonomics. It was pretty much like aiming as fast as the Liberator. So that's fine. The P19 Redeemer. This is your side weapon, your little Uzi, your rapid fire. This is a slight increase in recoil. It's slight. I've tested it. Look, you shouldn't just be holding down trigger on this thing unless you've got a berserker bot in your face, in which case it's so close that you're not going to miss, right? You shouldn't be using this thing at extreme ranges. If you are, you give a little burt, a little burst, right? And then it's fine. Peacemaker does increase damage. This is your original pistol sidearm, more damage. 60 to 75. That's great. If you still use the Redeemer or the Peacemaker, if you still use the Pacemaker, my heart. No, if you still use the Peacemaker, this is great news. Fine. The Senator. This is the revolver, the big iron. Increased damage from 150 to 175. Speed loader added when reloading an empty cylinder. Speeds up reload on empty considerably. Finally, I couldn't believe that we were playing a space age game with sci-fi weapons and laser cannons, and my man was still out there single reloading every round in the revolver. Like, you guys don't have speed loaders? Finally, we have speed loaders. Good. Now, this will also incentivize people to just empty the whole gun. That's great. But what I've been doing is I'll pull it out to shoot one or two enemies, put it back, and then I'll pull it again, maybe once or twice, and then when it's empty, then I reload. I don't want to be out there just wasting ammo. But that's just me. Okay, the last 7 dagger. This is the energy pistol with the continuous beam. Increased damage by, looks to be about 25%. Someone do the math for me. Is that a third? Yeah, by a third. Increased damage from 150 to 200. Great. I think it's a fine weapon. It's a good secondary. The damage increase is going to actually make it a little more feasible for use. Liberator. Classic Liberator. Increased damage. Mwah. It was already solid. Now it's amazing. Right? 150 from 55 to 60. Same with the concussive. 55 to 65. 10 more damage. Unfortunately, the Dominator was dominating too hard. Damage decreased from 300 to 275. Sad day. I think it still kicks. Right? Still slaps. I don't know if it's strictly needed, but maybe they didn't like people auto-killing all the troops. Who knows? AX R23 Guard Dog. Decreased damage by 30%. So this was the gun version of the Guard Dog. And that thing was pretty strong, honestly. So this is probably warranted. I didn't really use it that much, so I'm not sure. Here we go. Airburst rocket launcher. Haha. Will no longer detonate when shot near stratagems, turrets, sentries, resupplies, and other hell divers. Reduced proximity radius. I played with this quite a bit today to test it out. I've got to say, now that it's fixed, it is a lot more fun to use. Um, there is still the risk of killing your teammates if they're close by. All you have to do is not shoot it in the direction of your teammates. It's that easy. It's that easy. But yeah, we'll definitely play with that today. Check it out. Here we go with some stratagem changes. You got the machine gun sentry, increase health. Tesla tower, increase health. Aha. Excellent. I love myself a Tesla tower. Spear. Added reload stage reload after the spent missile has been discarded. I'm going to need someone to English that for me. I don't added reload stage reload after the spent missile has been discarded. Does that mean that the reload has another animation added to it? Does that mean that there's another part of the reload? Is that, I don't understand. So we're definitely going to test that. My favorite change here is RL-77 Airbus rocket launcher list. Yep. I gotta give him a little bit of business for that. Come on. Enemies. Bile spewer and nursing spewers move speed slightly reduced. Good. For something that big and that deadly, they shouldn't be that fast. Hulks. Force required for them to stagger slightly increased. I wonder if my arc thrower, sorry, will still stagger them. I need to test that. The Hulk Scorcher direct flamethrower damage reduced by 20%. Good. It shouldn't be doing a buttload of damage with the initial hit and then be setting you on fire to almost guarantee you a death. So that's good. Devastator rate, fire rate, slightly increased. Only the standard Devastator. Standard Devastators weren't scary anymore, so this probably changed that. Yeah, their fire rate was very slow. Gunship sideways movement slightly increased. So talk about when the gunship is hovering and it's looking at you, when it moves left or right to dodge attacks. That's increased. So it'll be a little harder to hit in the air. Just use a spear. Fog generators, health and armor increased. Fog generators. Fog generators. What's a fog generator? Are we talking spore spewers? The big mushroom dudes? Or is fog generator the class of bugs for the bile spewer and the nursing spewer? Because they do generate fog. So is their health increased? This needs to be clarified, I believe. I'm unsure. And here we have the most important change, I think, of the entire patch. Gunship spawners now have much lower cap on how many gunships they can have active at the same time. Thank you. If you didn't get the gunship fabricator building destroyed in the first few minutes of the fight and it keeps spawning the gunships, you could have 6, 8 of those things in the sky, and then they just harass the entire team and kill everyone. It's ridiculous. So, if we're reducing how many they have active, thank you. My God, those things are oppressive and annoying. Yeah, that's great. All right. Enemy patrols. Patrol spawning has been increased. when there are fewer than 4 players. The fewer the players, the bigger the change. For 4-player missions, there will be no change. Compared to before, the biggest noticeable change will be for solo players at higher difficulties. You shouldn't be expected to go down to a mission by yourself and have an easy time. Now, granted, I don't think a lot of people were doing this, right? I think this is very niche, so this feels a little heavy-handed. I think if someone's good enough and has the right tactics and loadout to solo a mission on the hardest difficulty, let them, right? If they're that badass, let them do it, right? I don't see a problem with that. This just seems like they don't like that and they're changing it. Whatever. Some gameplay changes here. Made minor level generation improvements, how we distribute locations throughout the mission. Basically, the mission objectives are not going to be completely on opposite sides of the map. They're going to be a little more condensed. Added setting in the options menu to disable automatic climbing and vaulting while sprinting. I didn't have a problem with that usually, but some people didn't like that. The Spread Democracy mission, otherwise known as Raise the Flag, can now be enjoyed on higher difficulties for maximum freedom spreading. Spread that freedom, baby. Spread it. Spread it so good. When readying up, Helldivers now salute to ensure maximum democratic readiness. That's good. I think having a visual indicator, aside from that little tab at the bottom turning yellow, is a better cue for people that may have forgotten to ready up. Added ambience to the tremor planetary hazard to underline the severity, so Helldivers can react accordingly. Okay. Shots that ricochet. Shots that ricochet from heavy armored enemies now properly hit the Helldiver who fired them. Trigger discipline is highly recommended. So if you just start unloading a machine gun at a solid armor plate, they're going to bounce back and hit you. Well. Good. All right. Crash fixes. Fix crashes. Good. Fix superior packing methodology. Ship module not working properly. So this was implemented a couple patches ago. It wasn't working. Now it is. Great. Blast absorption. It now increases resistance to explosions. Good. Fixed issues where items in Warbomb were not actually equipped. Fine. Anything? Oh, fixed an exploit that allowed overly eager Helldivers to use grenades excessively. There was an exploit where people were toggling something having to do with the resupply pack, and you would basically use all your grenades, and then you would start using negative grenades and still throw grenades. So your grenade counter was going negative. So people had infinite grenades, and they were just throwing grenades everywhere. That was... Come on, guys. Come on. Don't be cheesy. Don't be cheesy. Fixed issue where kills from orbital barrage did not progress indirect fire exercise order. I never experienced that, but fine. People were sabotaging extraction shuttles. Interesting. Let's see. Anything else of noteworthy here? They fixed issues where the UI was cut off at the end of mission screen. That's fine. They were fixing that for a while. They fixed how it faces. Fixed anti-material rifle issues. Recoilless, extra shell. Okay, let's see. The Sickle and Quasar could not shoot foliage. They fixed that. Weapon thumbnails were missing. They fixed that. Fixed issue where the gunships could sometimes not see the player. They fixed that, unfortunately. Let's see. Hell bombs were not deploying correctly. They fixed that. Oh, fixed issue where stalkers became very visible in fog. Darn it. Let's see. Total experience is now visible in career tab. Interesting. Better support for ultra-wide monitors. Keybind will no longer reset. Okay. Playing rock, paper, scissors in front of the ship no longer causes the player to fall into space. Interesting. Let's see. Explosive weapons no longer pull players forward from the blast. That was always weird. I'm glad they fixed that. You would be too close to something, you'd shoot, the blast would knock you back, but you'd fall forward instead. So it would pull you into the enemies. It's very frustrating. UI elements. Yeah, sounds great. And then there's some known issues. So here's one that I saw earlier. Damage over time effects may only apply when dealt by the host. We expect to have this fixed in the next patch. Finally. I will not be afraid to use my fire build because I'd be useless with no damage over time. So this should be fixed next patch. I can't wait. There's still some known issues. It's fine. It's fine. So, good. I'm glad we fixed these. I'm going to keep this page open on my other monitor so I can look at them, but I want to test a lot of these in the stream today. So let's go ahead and check it out.